So Roger Ezell, my neighbor,
Yeah.
my friend, and the mayor of Pablo Point on San Pablo Road neighborhood. So we've had a lot of conversations, but one thing that I have concluded with all of, because you're a deep thinker, you know, you really are. Like you're a deep thinker. You got things going on in your mind, and the thing that keeps standing out to me through all of our conversation is that, I think we talked about it yesterday, is like you are a man of many transitions. You have, like a lot of people in the world, you have been through the processes of life. 77, right? And here we are, you know, and here you are, this person who has, you know, all of those things, all those sums have made up a whole, right? And I just kind of wanted just to explore that with you, because I mean, you are a songwriter, you're a musician, you're a handyman, you were in the ministry for a certain period of your life, and now you just kind of like, you're just an all-arounder. So I want to kind of explore that with you and share that with people, because there's just like a lot of interesting stories about you. And I think you have some insights, because you are a deep thinker. I think you're a deeply spiritual person, even though it looks different than it has in the past. But I don't know. I just want you to start somewhere and tell me.
Well,
About you.
you say, what was your term? I've arrived at this point in time in a certain way. Maybe I think of it in another way. It's been this is where the train wreck ended up.
Oh, okay.
You know, or this is the result of things beyond your control, kind of thing, or this is, you know, you spend your life trying to look a certain way, be a certain way, and make life work a certain way, and it doesn't.
Okay.
You know, and that's okay, as long as you don't continue to try to make something out of that's not there.
Okay.
You know, I'm just saying, like romantic love as opposed to long-term, established, historical relationships with someone, and you call both of those love, but romantic love's maybe like having the flu, and and the long-term thing is kind of like major commitment, understanding.
Yeah, love is not really a feeling. It
No,
truly is a
yeah.
decision. I mean, that sounds cliche. We've heard that
No, it's
before.
not.
But love is a decision, and love gives you that ability to stay, to push through,
it does.
to face the challenges together.
I'm not sure I call it love per se, because love has so many connotations. There's, you know, love hurts, love is controlling, love is this, that, and the other. All these adjectives that we put and synonyms that we put with love. You can just, poetry, music, all of this stuff is just full of it. And so the Bible, everything. So it's hard to say what love is in that respect. But
Well, I know what love isn't. Love isn't disapproval. Love isn't.
Right.
You know, I mean, I think that truly, like, and I've read this, that disapproval is the opposite of love. Acceptance is
Right.
love.
Yeah.
Acceptance of and loving someone for who they really are. Like their beingness, just allowing them to be who they are. That's what gives you the ability to stay with somebody. It kind of transcends a feeling. And
Well, it's like these days we're looking for something that's real.
Yeah.
You know, it seems like everything's in upheaval, and not that it hasn't always been that way, but and so the things that really matter are the things that have always mattered. Being considerate, being caring, being helpful.
Doing the humanly good things.
Yeah, the good, you know, doing what you know to do, that you learn how to do as a kid and as a child, and not being caught up in your own selfishness or your own egoism or whatever else is dragging you around, and or listening to the wrong things and letting them get in your head and mess you up.
Yeah.
And so that's love to me. Love is a practical thing. It's what I can. It's what I can do to make the world a better place.
Right.
You know, and maybe it means putting in a sink for you, or fixing your refrigerator, or you know, something. That's
doing
love.
those things as service.
That's
for
love.
people.
That's love.
Yeah, that is a facet of love.
And
for
doing
sure.
a good job.
Yeah.
You know, and being trustworthy and timely and punctual and smart.
Right.
All of those things. And so we bring all of this to people, and we say, here it is. You know, and like I'll write a song, and most of the time my songs have just been for me. I'll just sit in my room and play them and enjoy them.
Yeah.
I'll go get them recorded to make them sound better, and I put them on the internet, but they're not, you know, nobody knows they're there. But then maybe I get the idea, oh, I'm going to go share these with some folk.
Yeah, like you did with me.
Yeah,
one
that
song.
that kind of thing.
And I tell you what, I'm telling you, I was a little disappointed today that you did not bring that guitar.
Sorry.
Because I really wanted you to, because that song just like gets me every time. But there'll be another time for that, for sure.
Yeah, well,
you know?
songs are that way, and writing books like this guy has, you know, that Face of Expression book, and on and on. We have a tendency, or we will have a desire to share this stuff, which means a great deal to us personally.
Right.
But doesn't always make it through the translation to other people.
Well, that's what this is about for me. This is about like giving. You think that your things are hidden, your songs are hidden, but they're out there, right? I mean, they are out there. If you look at everything as a whole, all of those feelings, all of those words, all of those sounds, they're resonating throughout all of creation, and they're being heard, you know. And I feel like this podcast is just about giving it one more little shot in the arm to get it out there, because you never know who's going to listen to this podcast and go, you know, Roger's kind of an interesting person, you know, I think I'm going to engage with him somehow. And then you get to share your story with them and your songs with them. Well, hopefully that's not going to be the case.
I'm just kidding.
But I'm just saying, like, you know, we have to give people space and time to be heard, to be heard and seen.
And you have to be brave enough.
And then you have to be brave enough, just like me doing this podcast.
I
mean, you've seen my process with this. You know, it's something new.
Yeah, I think of you as very brave.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have to sometimes like give myself some approval.
A little bit.
Like at least I'm showing up.
A little bit of fearlessness, yeah. You know, I was talking to this guy, really fine classical guitarist, and I didn't study guitar. My instrument was mostly voice, but he's a fine classical guitarist, and I worked with him and this, that, and the other. And I was just belly aching to him one day about having to pick up that guitar and play something in public. And his comment was your comment. He said, Raj, at least you're out there doing it.
Yeah, you just got to do it.
And I
You
thought,
just got to do
that's
it.
perfect, Dave. Thanks for telling me that. You know, it kind of gives me the permission
Exactly.
to pick the thing up
Yeah.
and to play it.
Yeah, I'm telling you,
know,
it works. It really does.
Yeah.
And people don't believe it, but it does.
Because we think, oh, I'm not good enough. This is not me.
Yeah.
And all of these doubts that we have about doing something.
Yeah.
And the same thing is true about Deb's a harpist and classical pianist and singer and a born musician. She has perfect pitch, or whatever you call that, relative pitch.
Yeah.
And music just oozes out of her. Me, it's like oil and water in a way.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't, I could sing, and I enjoyed that. But when it came to the nuts and bolts of music, it was just like, but it came natural to her. She can hear a piece and sit down and play it. She could hear a sonata.
Some people are just born instruments.
Born musician.
Yeah.
And so, but we would gig together a lot.
Yeah.
And that was our business. That was our life. And we made our money doing that. Not only in the church realm, but you take your harp and I played the guitar with her. Mostly just stayed out of her way, and provided rhythm and did the sound and carried her harp for her, which was long-term security on my part, because if I'd carry her harp, she's going to stick with me. Not kidding. And so, but all these gigs you do, all these things you do in front of people and for people, they don't turn out necessarily the way that person or those people wanted or you wanted.
Yeah.
They take on a life of their own. And so you learn over the years to accept that uncertainty about things, because you can rehearse and rehearse and rehearse
Lord knows.
and plan and plan and plan and then it won't
technical
record and you miss the whole thing, or it rains, or something happens, you break a string, your amp won't work.
There's setbacks.
And on. Yeah, it's just constant, and so you learn to deal with that.
Yeah.
And you don't give up.
And when other people see that example, like, oh my gosh, I saw how much it got screwed up, but they just step back in. It's like you step out, you take a breath, you have to walk away for a few minutes sometimes, and then you just say, okay, I'm going to go back in, I'm going to do this,
And if I had to say something to all the people who feel like they're at a very, very desperate place in their life, and they don't feel like there's any way out, there is. Just wait. Give it a minute, and something will come up. Yeah, I had somebody. I was living with a married couple when I was out in Kansas after the military, going to the University of Kansas for a while, and I was living in their basement. Very nice, sweet, wonderful people. And I was upset about something, trying to make a decision, and the lady, she said, Raj, just remember one thing, just never make a decision when you're upset.
That's probably true.
Just don't do it. Just wait until all that
Levels
emotion
off.
settles down, and it's not anything like you really think it is in your head at the moment. Next day, there's always another day. There's always a next.
Yeah, but when you're in the middle of it, you don't believe that space and time exists, but it really does.
It does. It does.
It's just that we have this agenda, and our minds are like running the show constantly. Like, you got to do this, and you got to have. And I spent my life in urgency, and when I learned how to somehow transition to allowing myself to pull back, it changed everything. I mean, you just got to give it a minute sometimes.
Yeah. You got to stop pushing.
Because, man.
We think, I got to push, I got to push.
You don't need to.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
It's going to work out.
Yeah. So, well, thanks for sharing all of that today. I think you got some good insights to things, and and we're going to do this again, and you're going to bring your guitar.
So this is an ongoing thing?
Yeah, I think it might be. I love our conversations, especially when we're walking in the neighborhood.
Yeah, it's casual.
We stop, But yeah, so thanks for sharing everything with us today, and we'll step back into this again soon.
Well, I appreciate you and what you're doing.
All right, thanks. Let's see what we got. I wanted to kind of break it up into pieces because